County District Attorney Fani Willis was ordered on Tuesday to turn over records related to her communications with Special Counsel Jack Smith. Now, the records could expose the extent of communication between their offices, which were supposed to be prosecuting President-elect Donald Trump separately. If you recall, Willis and Smith brought RICO charges against Trump for his role in trying to overturn the 2020 election results in the Peach State. Georgia Judge Robert McBurney moved to compel Willis this week after she failed with a request under the Open Records Act. The judge ordered that she hand over communication with and the House January 6th committee as well. She now has 4 days to produce all relevant documents. The nonprofit group Judicial Watch sued Willis in March after her office claimed it didn't have any documents and communications between her and Jack Smith and with the January 6th committee. The group wanted the documents stemming from a House Judiciary Committee probe into whether Willis coordinated with the House January 6th committee.
Willis brought the RICO case against President-elect Donald Trump and 18 co-defendants in connection with trying to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia. She charged Trump with 1 count of violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 3 counts of criminal solicitation, 6 counts of criminal conspiracy, 1 count of filing false documents, and 2 counts of making false statements. She became a target for the right after bombshell reports that she had a romantic relationship with Nathan Wade, who she hired to be a special prosecutor in the case. Now, Smith charged Trump with federal election fraud for his comments in the buildup to the riot at the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Trump denied any wrongdoing, casting the case as a political witch hunt. Regardless, he doesn't have to worry now since Smith ended the case altogether when Trump won the 2024 election. Sitting presidents cannot be put on trial.
The X sphere erupted. Independent journalist Kyle Becker posted, quote, Fulton County, Georgia, still trying to bury the true results for the 2020 election. Instead of turning over all the election records to the Georgia State Election Board, Fulton County sued to keep them hidden. This is just breathtaking lawlessness. Executive Director of Veterans for Trump posted, quote, the left is terrified that the evidence will show how the DOJ weaponized the judicial system against President Trump. Fani will need more Grey Goose to get through this. Sit back and enjoy the show. So this prosecution is still going. It is not, since it's at the state level, it's not one Donald Trump's victory in this election can undo. There was a number of things the prosecution had going for it in the way they brought the charges, the RICO element of it, allowing to allege a criminal conspiracy. They charged a number of Trump associates, and they're going to get them to flip on Trump, and it was going to be very damaging. The problem is Fani Willis is horrifically incompetent and was involved in picking her secret boyfriend to prosecute the case, Nathan Wade, that has now been established beyond any sort of reasonable doubt. It was unethical. It was corrupt. There are questions of kickbacks. Did he pay? Did she pick him for this? And then he got paid, and then he's paying her for things because they went on trips together. It's so totally inappropriate. There's also some video, the case she made when she was running for office against the incumbent guy was that she would never sleep with someone unethically. That is exactly what she's become involved in. So the whole thing is a mess. I'm not as familiar with this records issue and not being turned over, but yes, if there's communications with Jack Smith or with the January 6th committee, we should be able to see those records.
Here's the thing. I think when it comes to the issue at hand here, it's not a partisan issue. She should release the records. Transparency is a good thing. The Open Records Acts have been passed around the country, were passed by a lot of progressives who want to see a more open government. So that's something I very much support, and we should find out what's in those communications. Now, that said, I think for a lot of these Trump cases that we're facing, which unfortunately will just sort of evaporate, I think Merrick Garland should have moved faster on those at the federal level. And in the Georgia case, it is a very serious case.
They didn't pick a serious person to handle it.
That is probably true, but the evidence of Trump acting improperly and trying to overturn the 2020 election is not some secret conspiracy. It was done for everyone to see, because that phone call where he asked the Secretary of State to find him, what was it, 18,000 votes or whatever, is available for everyone to see. So that is out there. And the bigger issue here is that we did not have a peaceful transfer of power in 2020. That is an American value. It's something that has helped shape the world, and many countries do not have the benefit of that. Trump is largely responsible for that, had a huge role in it. He should be held accountable, and he probably won't.
Well, look, I listened to that call as well. I don't think it's as compelling proof as every mainstream establishment person seems to think that of some criminal conspiracy. Was it not a good thing to say on a phone call? I guess so.
But I think thing to say.
Well, but I think he okay. Donald Trump believed he won the election, that there were more votes for him, and that they had not been counted, and so he said, "Find me those votes that I know I won." He was incorrect about that, but it is not a crime to have an incorrect opinion that you actually did win the election, which is the same opinion that that John Kerry had, and Hillary Clinton had, and Al Gore had, and every person who's won an election has had a sour grapes, I actually won for XYZ reason. We only made it a crime this time around because of the riots that occurred on things he should not have said, but was acquitted after being impeached for, so I don't actually see that as so compelling to me.
So I would say that there were too many cases against Trump, and it's hard for voters at home to see
it's
the
speech,
signal
though.
through the noise.
On one level, it's
However,
speech, and for speech you don't agree with, the proper mechanism for holding him accountable was to not vote for him in the subsequent election.
here's the thing. Out of all the cases out there, this is one of the ones that actually does matter. Trump was intimidating that Secretary of State. There's a reason why that guy has now become an advocate for more good government reforms and has become a Trump critic, despite being a very conservative Republican, because you don't do that in an advanced democracy. It's completely inappropriate. I agree that this district attorney is problematic on many fronts. That is a loss for our democracy. But certainly we'll learn more when these records are hopefully
But inappropriate and criminal are different things to me. Inappropriate, yes, and the mechanism for inappropriate is, this is a democracy, that people can decide if they think the conduct or the behavior Trump engaged in was inappropriate. Also, the House and the Senate could decide the conduct was impeachable, as they did. He was impeached. They could have voted to remove him from office. They tried and failed to do that. And so, I don't know. You lost. What can I say?
The two important cases I think voters should pay attention to is the Georgia case, and then obviously the federal case that was supposed to be in process, where he tried to incite an insurrection on the Capitol. That should not go unforgiven, and I just completely disagree with you on this case, because in my view that made Trump you hear about threat to democracy a lot. Peaceful transfer of power needs to happen.
So I think the elements of the Georgia case that I find somewhat compelling are not the call. Are the organizing a incorrect slate of electors. There's a holding meetings, signing papers. There's some meat on the bones to the illegal activities taken by Trump, not by Trump himself, but by people in his orbit who have been charged as this group, and they're gonna, when called before judges, they're going to say, well, Trump ordered us to do this, and then Trump's going to say, no, that's not true, and you're going to have to argue about responsibility. That stuff I do see as potentially criminal. I'm just not, I'm never so sold on, well, Trump said this. Well, okay, you get to say things, though. If you don't like the opinion given, crime is not the way to handle it.
Well, that should be adjudicated, right?
Yeah,
and we'll find out.
More Rising coming up right after this. Please stay tuned.